This is Isaiah's observation of the original Nephilim, the leader of the gang, who is Lucifer himself. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. The stars are the sons of God. Lucifer is saying, I will exalt my throne above the sons of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. On earth today, this is fulfilled. The Nephilim exalt their throne, their authority, above the sons of God. They put out such a momentum of condemnation upon the sons of God that the sons of God believe that they are inferior to them until they are educated otherwise. And that is our job. Now, this falling down of the Nephilim, or the fallen ones, it is recorded in chapter 12 of the book of Revelation. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. So they were cast down, they were thrust from their positions of authority and intimacy with God. But they never accepted the judgment. They determined to continue to rule in the earth as they had enjoyed privilege in heaven. And you will find this out about the fallen ones. They do not accept their fall, and therefore their aura does not project that image of themselves. And the projection of the aura is oftentimes what you get as the reading of an individual. The self-esteem of fallen ones so hits you that you don't go beyond that veneer, pierce that aura, and find at the very core the judgment of Almighty God that says they have no right to rule in the earth. They are usurpers of the positions of the sons of God. This is very, very important, because the entire sanctification of the power of the fallen ones lies in this. They are karma dodgers. They dodge their karma by clever scientific uses of energy in the aura. Therefore, when you come into the history of the Nephilim 500,000 years ago that is traced by Zecharia Sitchin, you find that by the very fact that they are operating in the matter universe, they are already fallen. And Nephilim, as we said, means one who has descended. The ones who were cast out of heaven, they descended. So they are the fallen ones, and they come to this particular earth body from their previous space station, the 12th planet. I don't consider the 12th planet to be the place of origin of these fallen ones by any means. But they come from that planet, that 12th planet, to Earth, and they have instated themselves as co-creators with God in Earth and as creating these primitive workers and creating life. They become the arbiters of life, self-styled. It is an office in hierarchy that they have usurped. It was never given to them by the sons of God or Almighty God. So their entire history proceeds from their fall. And it has proceeded to the present hour. The combination of Darwinism, Spencer's theories, eugenics, the economic theories of Malthus, laid the ideological framework for the population explosion, which was an eruption of elite fury directed by the V's and X's of Galton's scheme against the A's, or the dysgenic or genetically unsound types, the little people of the earth. Again, who are we identifying as the little people of the earth? First and foremost, the children of God, who have not developed a threefold flame, or who have descended through their rebellion against God and who have lost the momentum of their threefold flame. So they now are children. What marks a child is that he does not assume adult responsibility. The transition from a child of God to a son of God is that the son occupies a level of attainment in the path of initiation where he assumes responsibility for the planet and her evolutions. So the little people are God's children who have not developed their God potential side by side with mechanization man. They're combined as one, they move as one, they identify together until they separate out. So it's these little people that the fallen ones desire to control. They have a method and a madness and a reason for controlling both. They want to control their primitive workers so they don't multiply and overtake them. Remember, one of the signs of the fallen ones is that they're licentious and lustful and extremely promiscuous sexually. You find them in the legislatures and in the Senate of the federal government. You find articles and stories about the fast life they live, and it's understood that they are that kind of people. This is what they do, and everybody should just wink and ignore the fact of their promiscuity. That came because of their intense hatred of the Divine Mother, and the way to get even with the Divine Mother is to squander her sacred fire. So their lust is the very lust of the devil himself. This lust then caused the Nephilim to rebel against the purity of their own lineage and to begin to have relations with the primitive workers. This is what enraged Enlil, that the primitive workers were becoming more and more advanced, far beyond the controllable situation when they had the perfect worker created by Enki, and he had just enough intelligence to perform certain tasks, but not too much to overthrow his overlords. So the Nephilim, in their lust, went beyond this, and the giants that were in the earth in those days came down and took unto themselves daughters of the children of men. So they cohabitated with the little people, both mechanization man and children of the light. And that cohabitation watered down the Nephilim. The offspring were part Nephilim and part of the lesser creation. So the control of the light bearer is necessary so that the light bearer does not accelerate and step into his divine office of joint heirship as a son of God. A child of light is always a threat to a Nephilim because somewhere on the evolutionary scheme he's going to accelerate and therefore turn and rend him. So they want to control God's people and they want to control their slave race because they have given to that slave race so much of themselves that they are now competing with them. They've given that portion of themselves to God's children who have cooperated with him, and therefore God's children also begin to be endowed with their powers, even though they are fallen powers. So now it becomes very obvious the two reasons why they want to control life. And so they lump them all together, and what works for one works for the other. The population control methods on either one are going to achieve their ends. Population control was effected by Herod when he had all the male babies killed, in order to get at that one who was the incarnation of the Son of God, and one Son of God incarnate on the planet causes all of the Nephilim to tremble. One Son of God, absolutely threatened because one Son is the fullness of Almighty God. One Son is above all of them in the order of hierarchy, and therefore they know that they are no match for that Son of God, and that Son of God enjoys the protection of Almighty God and is sent into the earth to invoke their judgment. So with all the power of the power elite, they quake and they tremble before David and his sling.